All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, can everyone hear me? I know everybody's just logging in, and sometimes it takes a minute or two to be able to get logged in, and we're going to be having people continue to join us throughout. So you could just drop a chat, tell me you can hear me. That would be great. All right, perfect. Thank you. Okay, so welcome to another webinar with the Theriault-Fazio team at Proper Rate. My name is Joanne Theriault-Fazio. I am the SVP of Mortgage Lending and the National Sales Director for Proper Rate, and I am thrilled to be one of the hosts for today's session. Sam Fazio, SVP of Mortgage Lending, is also joining me as a co-host. But before we dive into today's topic, we wanted to just quickly introduce ourselves and our team, for those of you who may be joining us for the first time. As a husband and wife duo based in the Chicagoland area, we are personally licensed in 18 states, making our expertise widespread. And we have been in the mortgage real estate industry for multiple decades and have had the privilege to assist thousands of borrowers, all while running one of the top teams in the country. And while we normally set up these webinars to be mortgage-based, we have had several requests from referral partners to showcase some of the AI programs that we use in our everyday business. We're not experts. I want to be very, very clear on that we are not experts in AI by any means, but we do believe in sharing our knowledge and some of the stuff that we've learned. I would say really more so over the last year, we've been using it a little bit more. So what is artificial intelligence? I have my screen up here for some definitions. Can everybody see my screen? If you could just drop a chat, let me know. You can see the presentation. I should have asked that in the beginning. Okay, so what is it? I popped it into the one of the systems that we use, and it spit out words like machine networks, neural learning, or neural language processing. And those are words that one of our AI systems popped out. But I think a much simpler way to describe it is robotics or computer help, being able to learn something and sound like an expert very quickly. So that's kind of what we use it for, because again, we are not experts by any stretch of the imagination. So that being said, we're just going to dive into it, just kind of talk about what we do. I'm going to have Sam talk to you about why he came to me and told me we had to start using more AI in our everyday business.
Good afternoon. Yeah, basically what I wanted to do when the whole AI thing came out, which was probably about 4 or 5 months ago here at this point, was one to increase in efficiency, enhance our customer experience as well, right? So those will kind of go hand in hand. I mean, from our standpoint, it's all about trying to get everything done as quickly and accurately as possible, and then also communicating that out to our clients as well. So we've kind of been using AI in a manner that will help us with tweaking some of our emails, tweaking some of our forms that we're using as far as like our templates that we're sending out to clients. If anyone out there is like me, writing your own stuff scares me. I would say that AI has helped me craft better templates and materials that we can go out, and they're kind of and then it's kind of like on autopilot. One of the examples that I'll use, and it comes down to efficiency and personalizing campaigns and content creation, which is kind of all in this scenario, is we have a newsletter that we get on a weekly basis that talks about the mortgage market. And I had been sending this thing out, and it was like 7 to 9 pages, and everyone that I was sending it to realtor-wise was saying, hey, this is too long. So, it's a little over our heads. Can you help, kind of narrow it down and do a summary? Well, I tried that a couple of weeks, and I was just like, well, there's just no way I'm going to do this, because it goes back to that point of just writing and kind of, I'm going to talk a little bit differently than anything else. So what we were able to do is condense that 7 or 9 pages into a 7 or 8 point bullet point summary, and then kind of just take in a couple of things that are very simple, that we think are the the most important in there and get that out. And that's been a lot more received. So you can also use it to one for the efficiency, but then also just to kind of to I'll use the term dumb things down. If you know if you're talking to people, if you're in the real estate business, some of the words and scenarios that you're going to use may be over other people's heads. So this will kind of help you tone it down. And I know a little bit when we talk about one of the platforms that we use, it actually lets you pick the voice that you want to talk in. And you can kind of just tweak your templates in there as well. But that's really kind of what I've been using it for, as far as that goes.
Yeah, and there's other things that we use it for too that we'll talk about a little bit, like our social media management. Presentation creation is always very helpful when you do a lot of presentations in our line of work with trying to educate people. And obviously we're on the mortgage side of thing. We talk to a lot of real estate agents, but I know we have clients on here as well. And you can really use AI for pretty much anything. Anyway, AI and mortgage, we just kind of wanted to touch on this a little bit. So Sam has some fun things to share.
Yeah, so on the lending side, AI is becoming a little more prevalent for certain loans. If you take a look, there are personal loans and some home equity lines of credit right now that are using the smart underwriting system, where you can upload pay stubs, bank statements, and it'll pull your credit, and the the intelligence will be able to figure out if you're qualified for that loan. It's not going to be the same type of a program as a human looking at it. So it's a little more, if you fit in the box, yes. If you're slightly outside the box, it's going to get denied. So it's not perfected yet, thank God. So once that happens, then it'll be a little different. One of the things that actually we've been using an AI system for a while right now and has really helped speed up the efficiency in our income calculations, especially for like self-employed borrowers. There's a program that we've been using within the company. It's called LoanBeam, that allows us to upload clients' tax returns. It will go in, review them, and then calculate out the income for us, whereas we can just go in and do a couple of tweaks. And that has been excellent for us, for a lot of our self-employed borrowers, especially if they own multiple companies, multiple investment properties. What used to take us 4 to 5 hours to do manually now takes us about 7 to 8 minutes to get that answer and kind of come up with our income in that scenario. We're also using it for your bank statements. So right now, if you have a bank statement, or when you're banking, we can use a system called Account Check that allows you to type in your username and password for any of the banks that you want us to have access to. And then you just go in there the one time. It's a third-party system. We can't see your password or your username. It'll pull down those bank statements and then keep them updated for us for 90 days so that we don't have to go back to the borrower or anyone to ask them to continually update bank statements, right? So again, that's part of the efficiency of this program. Still has to be reviewed, but something that we're going to continue to use. And then we're also using it for automatic verifications of employment, ADP, and then all the other major payroll processing companies have all automated this. So it's just, you go into their system and it just pops it down for us. And my least favorite one that we use AI for is the fraud detection system here at this point. The reason I say that it's my least favorite, because it does pull up a lot of false positives on certain things, because it's going through and just searching every county record possible and just kind of looking up things. And it gets really convoluted if you have a common name. So again, AI is not 100% there to help with getting mortgages done, but it's definitely there to make it more efficient and easy, as far as that overall process. And then these are just some of the common ones that are out there right now. The one that we use the most is Jasper, which is more for the writing aspect and coming up and being able to coming up and being able to kind of put things into whatever voice you want to use. ChatGPT is an excellent one as well, but that's going to be a little more intensive. I mean, I've used ChatGPT if I needed, like if I was creating, let's say, an Excel spreadsheet and you didn't know the formula that you needed to create, you can go into ChatGPT and just type in, ChatGPT, can you tell me the Excel formula to calculate a mortgage payment, right? and it'll send it out, and then you can actually just copy and paste it and pop it into the Excel sheet. Saves you a lot of time there so that you don't have to go in and try to figure that out on your own. And then all the other ones, everything now like LinkedIn and all of those have an AI bot attached to them. So you can kind of put out your normal, put out some um, content as you go. I'm going to skip the Canva part because that comes into the creativity and I don't really handle that one.
We have
That's
some
more of a
slides
Joanne
on some
thing.
of these too that we're going to be going over too. So I think too, just like really, it's interesting because Sam does use Chat GPT and also Jasper. I have actually never used Chat GPT because I just like once I learn how to do something where I use Jasper, I just kind of like to stick with it. But I would say that we have something that we'll show you a little bit later, the difference between the two. There's just a lot of really great systems out there. We'll get a copy of this to everybody too, just in case you want to just kind of look some of them up. But we're just going to show you a few of these, a few of the ones that we actually do use. This video should start, should start playing right away. It is. Okay, so we were doing a business planning session for Proper Rate that I was hosting in office in the beginning of December. And I was like, what are some things I can, show everybody about AI too? So I took a slide and went into our Canva. We use Canva a lot for pretty much creating everything, including this presentation. And you can actually convert into a different language, which if you are ever dealing with a client where there might be just the slightest bit of a language barrier, being able to, translate, I mean, you obviously can use Google Translate and all of that, but if you're just trying to provide them something that might just look a little bit more professional, you can convert anything into like a whole bunch of different languages. So this was just me converting it into French. And I will not speak French to you to prove that I can actually speak it, but it's just really cool. You can French, Spanish, any, variety of different languages. So that was all very quick how it did it. So it just did it while I was talking to you. This LinkedIn. So one thing I wanted to show is like, I didn't even know LinkedIn had this, and I do have LinkedIn Premium. It's not a premium feature. Actually, you can just rewrite AI with a lot of different things out there. So I was like posting about a Santa event that we were hosting, and I just was like, want to skip the lines, like nothing exciting. And it just made it just a little bit more exciting, a little bit more friendly, I think. And I was like, cool, I'm just going to hit the button to rewrite with AI and post it that way. Something I think that we don't even realize is out there that so many of these systems, and since LinkedIn is really pretty much for business, you can rewrite anything on there. And there's LinkedIn newsletter. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do with LinkedIn now. But even just being able to rewrite your content like within the system is pretty cool. The other thing we wanted to show that we really just recently started using this. So a long, long time ago, we used a program called Hootsuite, which was on that list. Hootsuite and Loomly allow you to be able to post to multiple sites at a time, which is for our business development manager has really, really saved a lot of time as opposed to having to log into each individual site, make sure that you're typing the correct amount of information and not like going over the amount of characters that can be in any given description or anything like that. And there's different levels for any of these programs, depending upon what you want to pay. So there's a few programs that we do pay for. Loomly is one of them. It's not super expensive. I'd have to double check, but I want to say it's like maybe $29 a month. It's not very expensive. But here you can see we've attached Facebook. It still has a little tweet bird, but it's X now. Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn. That's like a Google like where you can put like reviews and stuff like that. YouTube, I'm not sure what the bell is because we don't use it. We did decide to add TikTok to this stuff because we're like, well, we've been posting everything on Instagram and Facebook. We might as well add TikTok. And what I ended up finding out is the last video that we posted, we got so many more views on TikTok than we did on all the other platforms combined. So if you have something where you're like, I'm posting it, I already recorded it, or I already did it, like you might as well just post it everywhere, which is pretty great. You just do like a one-time setup with all of these. Of course, if you ever have to change your passwords or anything like that, you'd have to, put that back in there. But really, you're just, hitting a button and adding in, and you don't have to do them all at the same time. Pinterest doesn't allow you to do more than one picture. So there are some tweaks that you do have to make to it when you do Loonly. But what's great is that you kind of just go and you just put it all in and you hit the submit button at the end. It will ask you if you want to make any adjustments. You might want to make a slight tweak to something you're posting on Instagram versus Pinterest, or something else. But it also lets you do a cover photo, which is really important. We just actually discovered that this week because our videos weren't posting with a cover photo and they were kind of starting funny. We were like having to go back into, say, Instagram and add a cover photo, but now you can do like the cover photo thumbnail, which is really great. Or you probably always could, but again, we're not experts. We're just sharing what we do know. So there's that, that's really been a time saver. I'm going to have Sam talk about our Home for the Holidays contest that we ran through the two systems, like I mentioned.
Yeah, and before I forget, I did kind of leave out one part from one of the last part. When using, like, if you're doing videos, and one of the hardest parts that you're thinking about is what the heck am I gonna say? Kind of come up with a concept or some ideas, type it into a chat GPT or Jasper, ask them to come up with a script for you, and then tweak it to make it sound like yourself, right? So I've done that multiple times. And then we have a video program that we use called Voodoo. So it's VUDU, that actually would allow you to kind of copy and paste that script right into the what they would call their teleprompter. And then you can video tape your video record yourself at the same time while you're reading off the teleprompter. So it makes it pretty easy. That whole process takes about 5-10 minutes to kind of go through. But you definitely want to make it sound like yourself when you're doing it. So again, these are for efficiency and just kind of making life a little bit easier. So what I did here is we kind of just did the, Joanne and I had this little contest between ourselves. Type in, I used Chat GPT, she used Jasper to kind of come up with what the differences were when we asked it the exact same question. And unfortunately, I don't know which one this is. Is this the
Chat GPT? So
okay.
We typed into both of them, act as a mortgage lender, creating Home for the Holidays contest. We were right. Like the exact same two sentences.
So in the Chat GPT one is going to come out with something that's a little more consumer friendly and customer facing friendly than Chat GPT. So it's gonna, you're just gonna kind of get a little softer touch. And again, it's because it allows you to type in what voice you want to talk to. Now, we don't pay for the Chat GPT extended one, so I don't know if you can do that on that one as well. But that's very important. Like I'll go back to the scenario where I write I summarize the statement. I can type in, make this compatible to a novice financial person who's also a real estate agent, right? So you can type that in and you put it into like an informative tone, right? And then it'll kind of consolidate everything and spit it out that way and really summarize it so that it kind of resonates with who you're trying to talk to. And it's not taking you a lot of time to do that. And for those of you who are real estate agents on there, using that to summarize, key points. Hey, what's going on in the market? Where pricing is going to be spectacular for you because it's going to save you a lot of time. And again, the other side is going to give you a more friendlier tone, when you're using it here on Jasper. But if you had a chance to go ahead and read these, it kind of just shows you kind of the differences. There are some things that are the same, but there were definitely some things that were more consumer friendly and facing on the Jasper one towards ChatGPT. I think ChatGPT is more like talking to what would we use here? Like a college professor versus talking to the teaching assistant, right? Because they're going to give you two different voices when you're doing it, and Jasper has that little softer tone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then one thing I actually learned earlier this week when I was in an office meeting was that ChatGPT, even the pro version or whatever you want to call the version you pay for, hasn't actually been updated since January of 2020. So like with these particular AI programs, they read the internet. They've read a certain percentage of the internet. I can't even imagine how much information is out there on the internet at this point in time, 2024, but they read a certain percentage. So I think ChatGPT isn't quite as updated versus Jasper is a little bit more updated and has like, you know, one of their things is that they've read more of the internet. I feel like I'm almost doing a Jasper commercial. It's just the one that I find a little bit more useful. So like, you know, if today I was typing in something about conforming loan limits, it's going to pull something a little bit more updated to tell us what the conforming loan limits are versus what they were maybe a year or 2 years ago. So that's just more on the mortgage side. I also want to say that like, we don't just use this for business. We were doing our holiday card and I was showing Sam what I was getting printed and he looked at the back and he was like, did you use Jasper on this? And I'm like, I did. Can you tell? And he's like, you called our son, he's 2, a little scholar in like his school photo. Like, that's just not how I speak. But it was like, just like a fun little, this is what we did this year. And these are what the pictures are from. And it was very, very easy for me to do, to just put in like, you know, picture from the Bahamas, picture of, you know, school and all this stuff. And it just spit out this like really cute little paragraph that we were able to fit on the holiday card. So I don't know if I should admit to that, but it made it a little bit more fun to read, I think. And I can write, actually. I enjoy writing. It's just this has made it more efficient. I'm just showing an example of Jasper here. And again, this is us acting as a loan originator. So this was me just typing in something that I was showing everybody when we were doing our business planning session for 2024. So you can type in, you can be super specific, you can not be, but I like the chat feature a lot because it pulls a lot from the internet. There's content improver and all of these. If you are an agent, you can do MLS descriptions, you can do stuff for YouTube. Like there's a lot of different things that you can do on any of these particular sites, but I'm just asking it to talk about how you negotiate seller credits for a contract for a buyer. It's something super relevant in the world that we live in. Sometimes I say, please use emojis because I like to add emojis if we are posting something for social. Sometimes I'll say I'm doing it for a video script. We do write a lot of our video scripts, but sometimes we'll put this into like, there's a content improver. Last year, I wrote a press release for our company for somebody who won an award, and I just I popped it into the press release content improver and was able to just tweak a few things to make it sound more like, you know, an actual press team had written it and not just the manager. But basically, we really enjoyed like being able to utilize this to, I think, just speed up everything. We talk about efficiency, which is great, but I think it also, you know, just pops out some really great content too.
Yeah, and so Joanne, let me kind of jump in real quick.
Yeah.
And in a case of where wife intelligence is better than husband intelligence, I apologize. I said voodoo. It's actually called Big View. Is the system that I was using
for the teleprompter?
For the teleprompter and video recording. So yeah, I was, again, husband intelligence is not that good some days. So I apologize.
Yeah. So again, we have just like a handful of things that we use or that we've tried. Some work better than others. I think for me, I'm the type of person who I don't like to try to add too many things at one time. I'd rather get really great at something, feel comfortable with it, and then add something a little bit later. So I know we got through, actually, we're coming up on the half hour and everything. We'll get some of this information out to you. If anybody has any questions about doing anything AI related, like please just feel free to reach out. We like talking about it. It's definitely here to stay. I think that it's not going anywhere. You know, it's obviously been improving even since we've been using some of these systems. You know, we've been using Canva for several years. Now they've added that language piece of it. LinkedIn have been on for ever and ever and ever. Predates you know, the Facebook days and everything, and now they have like AI built into it. So I think it's even a good call out to be able to go in and look at some of the stuff that you already use to see what's available to you. Also wanted to remind everybody that check out our link tree, our any, contests, giveaways, other upcoming events, whether virtual or in person, are always going to be on there. And also our social media page. If you follow any of our social media pages, obviously I just listed, we have a ton of them. But we specifically with like Instagram and Facebook, if you share, like, comment, tag any of our posts, it automatically enters you into our monthly social media contest. But also if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and all of our videos that we've done throughout the last year are all on there. And I will say, we have busy lives. We run a business. We have a toddler. And I think we were able to knock out over 50, close to 60 videos last year. That's a lot. I think for people who hadn't been doing them, obviously they kind of improved over time, and we got a little bit more efficient with them and everything. But if, we can do it, anybody can do it. So just wanted to share some great things that we are doing on the AI front. And if anybody has any questions or needs anything, our contact information is on here as well, and we'll send an email out probably sometime tomorrow, just with some of the slides to give you some more of that information, that you have it ready and handy in case you want to start doing AI. So thanks everyone for joining us, and have a great rest of your Wednesday.